This is North Vinny, and me and my loyal manservant Jay gonna talk about the big battles of World War III that are going on even as we speak. See, what people don't realize, World War III has begun already. They're fighting a guerrilla war against us, and we got a few major opponents going on here. We got the Iranians, right? Which we have the Iranians on the run. We used to have the Venezuelans on the run, but we've taken over that country. We snatched their leader,
Right.
and we got the Chinese very nervous because they want to invade Taiwan, but unless they have oil, they can't invade nobody. And then,
Who's gonna help Iran?
well, who's gonna? Nobody's helping Iran. They were blowing them apart. And it's
Mm.
embarrassing the Russians because the Russians were like they were aligned. Iran was sending them to fight their war. They were sending them drones,
Mm.
and they were attacking the Ukrainians. You see,
Oh, I see.
now the whole master plan of Trump. You knock out Iran, right?
Okay.
You knock out Iran, and you knock out, and he's already knocked out Venezuela, right? He's got all their oil, right?
Oh, so they're out of the story
They're
now.
out of the story now,
Okay.
right? And then all their oil is going to us, not going to China.
Okay.
See, China was setting up bases in the South America there, and they were going to attack. What they were going to do is see. We made a big mistake in the 1990s.
Okay. What happened in 1990?
What we did was see. We thought the Chinese would be if they were capitalists, right?
Right.
They would be nicey nice. And we let our manufacturing base go to China. A
Mm.
lot of things we manufactured here, all of a sudden, are what they call the Rust Belt, right?
Right.
And it was sort of like a bribe because what would happen is the goods that the Chinese would send us would be cheaper.
Right.
So they said, hey, it will be cheaper and then buy an American, right? And that would be, and the Chinese would begin mellow. They would become capitalists and everything like that.
Right.
But then that didn't what had happened. They still stayed communist, totalitarian, but they had capitalism.
Oh, so they tricked them.
Oh, what was us? Stupidity. Because we're thinking, uh, if you're capitalist, you're naturally going to be democratic, which is not true. If you look at the Nazis, right?
Right.
They were capitalists and right wing socialists, right?
Right.
The state dominates things.
Mm.
See, when the state is totalitarian, they have to run everything.
Okay.
So they have to say your personal life that they may go, uh, Jay, you have to wear a certain hat and talk a certain way and be subservient to maybe women or some whatever they say,
Right.
and they keep on changing because it's a power move, right?
Right.
So China gets capitalists and they start to they get us by the testicles, right? They
Right.
say, look, if you don't let us do what we want to do, we'll take your medicines away, we'll take your industrial base, and you can't do jack poopy.
Right.
So at the mercy of China. Oh, so Trump goes, well, no, this is not how we're going to play it. Because all of America can feed itself, right? America has enough resources of when they frack to keep its energy level going, right?
Correct.
And then we have a lot of resources in America
Right.
that we haven't utilized. Some of the stuff we need from Greenland and vital things like that, but for the most part, we got it. Now, China
China. Yeah.
is dependent on oil from Iran and from Venezuela. You
Mm.
see, they're dependent. So if we grab Venezuela and Iran,
So, if it wasn't for China, Venezuela would never been taken over, or Iran.
well, we'll see. This would happen.
It started with China,
It didn't
and
start
they
with China. China exploited it.
exploded. Yeah.
See, what happened was they had a communist, a socialist government in Venezuela, right?
Right.
And they said, look, this is an unfair class system. We're gonna steal, we're gonna take all what the middle class is there, eventually the working class, and take them and give it to our friends who are oppressed.
Okay.
So they did that, but what happened was it didn't work out that way because say you're a vital person in your country, right? You're middle class or working class, and you really work hard.
Okay.
You're a little engine. You want to take care of your family and all that stuff. But they get some guy who's just a thug or stupid, right? And say, we're gonna give Jay's house to him. We'll give Jay's job to him.
Mm.
And that's what happened in Venezuela. And also human nature. Human nature is sort of corrupt. What happens is these countries are like utopian. That doesn't exist here.
No.
Nobody's crooked.
Okay.
So, but what ends up happening is the leadership there gets all the money
Right.
and they chase out the people who are more vital. And this happened in separate countries.
Oh, okay. So they had their own.
To each other, but they exploited like in Iran, right?
Okay.
They had the Shah, right? And the Shah was a little corrupt, right, and authoritarian because he was stuck between communists and the mullahs, the fundamentalists, right?
Okay.
He's fighting them both, right? But the average Iranian, right, or or Persian, if you want to call them that, had basic life. The women could optionally wear the headdress and not wear the headdress,
Right.
work jobs, and they were westernizing. But he was stuck between two things, and he was a little corrupt. He got, all these guys,
Among her.
feather their nest. But so the mullahs took over, right?
Yeah.
And the mullahs take over, and then everybody has to go by their rules, and their
Okay.
rules is imposing religious fervor.
Oh.
In other words, everybody, it's not optional that the women wear the headdress.
Okay.
It's not all the men can't do certain things. They can't leave their wives have to stay at home because they bring back the traditions that were 500 years ago or more.
All right.
And they also misinterpret Islam. In other words, it's made me say in the Quran, you do not let your women be seen.
Okay.
But they go too far. And then they have the distortions of the Quran where they got weird, like ISIS and the Hamas,
All right.
in which like for instance in Afghanistan they outlawed kids doing with kites.
Right.
And they would take and instead of letting the old holy sites of Buddha and all, it would destroy them.
Wow.
And we're destroying all the artifacts because they wanted to destroy history.
Wow, that's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Just start new.
And started new, destroy everything that was. And a lot of the totalitarian people do that.
Mm.
But these guys, and then in Korea, right, they had the North Koreans, right, and they have atomic weapons, right? And you would think, and the communists at first is like, it's this class warfare, and we're fighting the colonists and all that stuff. But eventually they go back and they become like kings.
Mm.
See, the North Korean president, he says, all of a sudden he says weird crap. Like he can't crap, he doesn't crap.
Right.
More than him, he doesn't poop.
Wow.
And he was born on the sacred mountain. And his father, what they did is the first father was the traditional communist, right? Then the second father, his son, became a weirdo.
Really? Okay.
You ever see Space Troopers or whatever about the puppets and all that stuff?
Right.
That was true. It's a big joke, but it's all true.
Oh, this?
And yeah, and in other words, it's a parody, but the parody is based on truth.
So it was like basically based on somebody else.
It was based on the North Korean dictator.
Wow.
Who would kidnap people, he was wearing high heels and he kidnapped people and they started acting like they were gods.
Mm.
And then they would threaten South Korea saying, and they got the atomic bomb, and we try to make them not get the atomic bomb. And then he's saying, you give me money to support my country, or I'll attack. He implies he's going to attack South Korea and Japan. And South Korea and Japan are right there.
Oh,
So that's
and they connected,
right, and he can.
and they're part of the United States.
Well, they're not part of an alliance with us, but the thing is, if he attacks South Korea, right,
Yeah,
which we have economic things with, he'll kill millions of people in Japan. He might probably he couldn't reach us with atomic weapons because we're too far away and he doesn't have the technology.
right.
But he would kill millions, and that would destroy economies and also the radioactive clouds and everything else like that.
Okay.
That's what's happening in Iran, right? The Israelis have atomic weapons, right? So they would be destroyed, right? A few bombs could destroy Israel because it's a very small area.
Right.
The Israelis are not going to let that happen.
Oh,
So if we didn't intervene now and knock out Iran, as soon as the Israelis would hit the Iran with 100 atomic weapons.
right.
And you know how many people would die? Millions.
Millions, right? Billions.
Yeah, even billions eventually, because what will happen is the radioactive clouds, and that would affect us. If you
So it would kill them with the bomb, and plus whatever um air comes out of it's gonna also kill them with that too.
right, and it's going to kill us because the radioactive clouds are going to fly around the world.
Oh,
It won't
wow.
kill all of us, but it'll make enough sick.
That's not good.
Not good.
All right.
Now you have a situation where you have to not, you can't, and the mullahs, right, the fundamentalist government, they're willing to die for the cause.
Wow.
In other words, he's like, okay, yeah, you blow me up, that's all right. I'm gonna go and get my 96 virgins or whatever the hell it is,
Mm-hmm.
and be rewarded because their religious belief is concrete.
Right.
Like most people, like we believe in God, or we believe, but we also have like, we're not willing. If I put a gun to your head and say I'm going to blow you away, you want to use. There's a little doubt in your mind you're going to go to heaven.
Right.
These don't have any doubt,
Right. Okay.
so they're willing to die, and because they think they're going to get the reward, and that's why you have
A
to
sacrifice.
the sacrifice, the martyrdom.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is, what Trump is doing, right? He's knocking them out of business, and he's knocking them out with the Israelis because the Israelis. Israeli intelligence, right, is saying together with rebellious Iranians, because the majority of Iranians don't want that government, but they have no guns, they have nothing to defend. When they demonstrate, which they've done, the government there killed 40,000 people.
Wow.
And the people are rioting and they're very brave because they're unarmed. The government has machine guns and they're shooting into the crowds. And when people are wounded, they were going into the hospitals and shooting the wounded dead
Oh
in
my
their
God.
beds.
They're horrible people.
Horrible. And you know what they did?
What they did?
They would charge the families the bullets that they used to kill their family members. Evil, evil shit.
That's some
And
dark side.
the dark side. So what Trump is saying, look, we got to take these guys out now, and and it's costing very few American lives.
Okay.
But America is really gun shy about getting involved in these wars because we had a war in Iraq and Afghanistan that we lost essentially,
Yeah.
and for 20 years we were fighting there.
Right.
But it was different circumstances. See, what we tried to do in Iraq was divided between the Sunnis and I think somebody else. They were divided artificially by the Europeans.
Allies, right?
Yeah.
They had other.
Well,
They was working together in a way.
well, the Sunnis and the Shiites, I think the Sunnis and the Shiites have been fighting a war against each other for 1,000 years.
Oh.
Because what happened was when the prophet died, right?
Right.
After he had relatives. Half the relatives said, let's say Sunni, I might have, Sunni said, we are we should be in charge of Islam, right? The Shiites say, no, we should be in charge of Islam. And they broke up into two different sects who've been fighting for 1,000 years.
Wow.
So when the Europeans came in, if they had just a Sunni tribe in the country or a Shiite tribe, those people might rebel against the colonists. But if you had them together, they could never get together and throw out colonists.
Oh, okay.
So that was the way they, you know, pitted one against the other. Now, eventually, it backfired because these
Oh,
countries
what
radicalized.
does the European get out of working with them?
Well, exploiting them, what they would do is they get resources.
Okay, there's like a trade.
Like what they would do
They would
is
give a trade.
they would come into your country, right?
They would get something out of it.
Right, they would get something. They say they went into
Okay.
your country, right, is divided between Dominican Republic and Haiti, right?
Okay.
And they would essentially pit the Haitians against the Dominican Republic, so you wouldn't unite. If all of a sudden you called yourself Dominican Haiti, and there was no racial thing going on, you would unite and you might throw out the Europeans or make a better deal with the Europeans.
Mm.
But that's not what they did. So now we're going in there, we're gonna what they called in Germany, right? When they the not we denazification, right?
Correct.
So they took I'm not sure which one with Hassan Hussein's his people were the minority that were running Iraq and
Okay.
oppressing the other Muslims. And he said, we're going to denazification, but it's not the same thing because the reason why we got away with denazification was that they were all Germans, right?
Oh.
And they also was a political movement that also had been disfranchised because they took the country into a war and the country was devastated. Plus, the Germans were more afraid of the Russians. Here's the Russians, and the Russians had been killed by the Nazis on a mass scale.
Right.
So the Germans behaved themselves, and also they didn't want to be Nazis anymore.
Mm.
And they got rid of a certain amount of the Nazis, got them employed. Some of them they rehabilitated after a while. They could work in government and all that stuff
So
again.
they had to change in a way
But the circumstances in Iraq were totally different.
back then.
Well, when we went in there, right? I remember what you read in the paper. We'll make Iraq a model country because most of the Middle East is a dictatorship
Yeah.
by our standards. So we go in there, we don't know what we're doing. We're trying to denazification. We unemploy half the population, right? They go in immediately a resistance movement,
Right.
and we fight them for 20 years.
Wow.
And the same thing essentially happened in Afghanistan to an extent, because you had the 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 urban people, right? And then you had the country folk.
Wow.
And the country folk had more will, and also it's not so much who has the majority; it's who has the greater will.
Well, okay.
Say
Power.
you could, and the what they should have done was they should have had a situation where they had urban people trained to be soldiers and really wanted to fight for the cause against the Afghanistan radicals.
Okay.
The Taliban, or whatever the hell they call themselves, because they were nuts. But how they rose to power is this: when we defeated the Russians, right?
Yeah.
And then the resistance movements went into the cities, right?
Right.
They were crooks. They would rape and kill and murder and all kinds of weird stuff.
Everybody or just a specific group?
The general population.
Wow.
So what happened was the Taliban comes in and says, we have certain rules, weirdo rules. But they're rules because people need rules to go by, even if they're oppressive. And they knocked out the old these warlords, and they imposed their country's strict, bizarre rules.
Mm.
Now, what happened there, and destroying all the holy sites, and you couldn't buy a kite or have a play, or women had to have things all over them and all that stuff.
Right.
There are rules. See, if the other way, the anarchy, if you don't have rules and you change them every day, like I say, Jay, the rule is you wear a hat, right? Then I say, no, the rule has changed. I get to rape your wife because you didn't wear the hat just right.
Oh, I see.
Then you say, no, what can I do? Wear the hat this way. The rule changed. Now, not only do I get your wife, I get your kid.
Wow. That's
So you
crazy.
have total
No control.
no control. People can live under weird rules as long as there's stability. If I change them every moment, you can't live that way.
Mm,
It's go crazy.
I get
You
it.
never, no matter what the rule is, you have to have stability in your rules.
Okay.
So people would rather have a country that has crazy rules and totalitarianism than no rules at
There
all,
no rules out.
where anything can go.
Anything can happen.
Anything
and
can happen.
and you're not safe.
You're never safe.
Wow.
So
Like Venezuela.
like Venezuela, the guy comes in and it's a class system, and what ends up is they get rid of the vital people there. Because countries should have a working class, or even poor people,
Yeah.
working class, middle class, upper middle class, rich people. Because you say, well, I want to be rich too, right?
Right.
But he has to pay a price. Say if you wanted to be a businessman, right?
Okay.
You have to work overtime to do it. You have your pizza parlor,
Okay.
and it's your pizza parlor. You're making money.
Right.
Then they raise the rent. You can't pay your rent because the landlord's greedy.
Okay.
All of a sudden, the criminals are going around and they've taken a piece of your action. And they're going, hey, you sound like it's a beautiful pizza parlor. Why don't you give me half your money?
Wow.
And that's what would happen. That's what happened in Russia.
That's crazy.
And that's why the communists never succeed, because eventually they may be puritanical at first,
Yeah.
but they're not for long.
Okay.
And the crooks and they don't acknowledge the imperfection of the system.
Mm.
They don't acknowledge that people are imperfect. They get crooked, because that can't exist in a communist utopia.
Right. Okay, yeah. Like a dream.
It's like it's like
When you say utopia, you're saying like a dream.
like a dream, like a perfect society.
Right. There's no, yeah.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It wouldn't work in your own life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not even, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Not even in a dream.
Right, maybe in a dream, and they base things that the previous situation was corrupt and unfair and everything like that. So it has to be erased entirely. And maybe they take certain aspects of it
Yeah.
when it's to their convenience, but and what ends up every time, and you can see it, people want to run away from the place.
Ah.
Nobody's going to Cuba, people
So like a better place.
to America.
America only? Not Europe?
Europe too.
Europe, America. Or wherever they got a lot of
Better standards of
better, more control they had.
But America is the main place people want to go.
Okay, not Europe.
Not Europe, because the thing is, America is like an idea of what an American is, right?
Okay. And Europe?
A European is more by blood. The
Oh.
French are French.
Okay, so if you're
They're
not
all related to each other.
if you're not French and you go out there, you're gonna have a hard time.
You're gonna have, because they'll never accept you as totally
That's
French.
totally French.
Because you're not family. It's like, you're not my cousin.
Yeah, who are you?
You're an Arab.
You don't speak
You don't
French.
speak English.
Yeah.
So even if they have laws there where you do become French, they never really totally accept you.
They won't accept it.
And also you have habits that might be bad. Say you go into France, right? And you have a situation where in your country, women are supposed to wear the hijab, and if women show a little cleavage, the horse, I get to rape them.
Right.
Or I take children and make them like child sex slaves.
Oh.
Because in your country, you can do that. But also you're dealing with the infidel. So you have carte blanche to do those things.
Wow.
Because so you get this medieval thing, and a sort of an invasion. Because all race means, right, is basically you're not related by blood.
Oh.
Somebody. Like you come from Dominican Republic, right?
Right.
So everybody in Dominican Republic that looks a little like you is probably a third or fifth cousin.
Okay.
And it's not until you come to America that maybe you marry a Puerto Rican girl.
Oh, so you
And
get it.
you're not related, you may be related because we're all related.
Yeah,
Because everybody came out of Africa eventually.
but they closer to
To
the
you.
race than the French.
That say the French. So
Oh.
now in America, what we did was, and it worked, was to an extent, and sometimes it was unfair. You would have people come into the country, say the ideal. You would have the Mexicans come to the country,
Okay.
Chinese coming to the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if they were illegal by one generation or two, they became American. They started talking like this. The Americans might get a little dull, like oatmeal. And the gray, the cultures that are there would enrich and reinforce each other. You get the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Now, and then what would happen is you say, well, this is still unfair because the people who are not American, but because at that point we didn't take that many drugs in America, they'd send the money back home. And their money that they would send back home would be worth 10 times than what it is here.
Wow.
See, a reason why a lot of Americans don't, unless they have some social welfare situation supporting them, don't want to work the fields and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's because the cost of living is much more. They can't buy a home with the money that they would get from being, say, an aide. But an aide here can go send the money back home and buy a house.
Wow.
And you know, and so and then they everything because money works, so it works to an extent. Now what happened was the drug people who take drugs, and marijuana and all that stuff, took so much billions of dollars they're sending to Mexico that the Mexican cartel, let's say just the Mexican cartels, they became more powerful than the government.
Oh.
Because they can buy weapons, they could, and they would either, if the people like the police and all that resisted, they would either kill them, their families, and very ruthlessly, or they bribe them.
That's gonna be harder work for people.
So we're at war with, so Trump is at war with them because eventually, if he doesn't war with them now, right? Like knock out Iran, knock out all these, millions of people will die. See, so the war, now the Democrats are like, no, 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 no. We can negotiate. These people will mellow. They're not going to mellow in Iran. They're true believers. If you think that you're going to go to heaven if I kill every Jew,
Oh yeah, no, you're not gonna.
yeah, you're going to do it. And the Jews are not going to set back, especially if they have atomic weapons.
They're not gonna come in and be like, oh no, you're not gonna have it.
Right.
They'll be like, you're gonna have it.
And their concept is that their form of Islam they want to spread everywhere. They're not even just happy conquering the Middle East. They want to conquer Europe. They want to conquer America.
Okay.
And get their rules here. Like how Americans like dogs, right?
Yeah.
Now, some of them said dogs are dirty, right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be able to walk them. Shouldn't have them in the house. They're dirty.
No pets at all.
No pets.
That's something.
And that would piss you off, right? Because you love your little pugs.
Yeah.
You don't go, wait, I'll maybe have my wife dress, but you deal with my dogs.
I'll move out then.
Yeah.
I'll leave.
You'll leave the city
because it's not fun.
It's not comfortable. And the goal of somebody telling you what to do. is, you'll get, it's like you're Catholic, I'm half Catholic, right?
Right.
Now, you, in the Catholic religion, you're not supposed to have sex outside of marriage, but nobody really pays attention to it. The
Mm.
church can't force it, but if the church had absolute power, they could. As soon as you had sex outside of marriage, and they used to do this,
Because it's considered sin.
you're sin and you're going to be in big trouble.
Oh, I see.
They may kill you, or stone you, or something. And that's what they would do in
Back
the olden
then.
days,
Wow.
right? Or and they said they have rules where you can't get divorced. So no matter what, how horrible your marriage is, you're supposed to death do us part and all that stuff. But nobody pays attention to it. They pay attention. They give lip service to it. But and the church can't force it.
No.
But see, in the mullah's country, they can force things, and then that's the bizarre thing. You have gays, right? They're saying we're for Hamas and we're for Iran, right?
Right.
Now, gays in those countries, you go in there and you're gay, they throw you off a roof, or they put
Wow.
metal up your butt,
Oh my God.
torture you to death. And if you're gay, or they force you into transgenderism,
There's
but
no freedom then.
there's no freedom because see the difference between like what they say is an authoritarian government. You can have your little personal life and your traditions and all that. They want power, but the totalitarian government, they have to run everything.
They want to stay. They don't want to see no one controlling something they don't have power of.
Right, and then everything's a threat to them.
Yeah,
Even they
so there's
even
gonna be a
have
threat. They'll be like, no, we take it.
because people complain, hey, look, this is not really working out. It's corrupt. And that's a threat to them because that's a totalitarian means total control,
Total control.
and it can come from the left or the right. But usually nowadays it comes from the left,
Okay.
you know, and so that's really the story. If Trump lets things go, there's going to be an atomic war when as soon as the Iranians have the weaponry,
If they get to it.
if they get the bomb.
They making them a regular.
And they're trying to make the bomb as much as possible. As much as we blow up things, right? They have the secret, underground bunkers that, and the thing is, what we have to do is to knock them out, we have to take over Iran entirely, right? Not with a
Completely.
lot of ground troops.
Completely.
Completely, but the people that we would use and we that and they would use us as the Iranian people,
Okay.
arm them and say, okay, we're arming you. You're going to take on what's left of the mullah's armies, right? We'll help you. The Israelis will help you, and we'll help you with very little troops. I mean, we'll have casualties,
Yeah.
but the casualties were maybe we would lose 1,000 guys at this point
Yeah.
to save millions of people.
Wow. That'd be nice.
And that's what the Democrats said. Well, they tried to bribe the Iranians. What they would do is there was money frozen, right,
Okay.
in bank accounts, and Obama said, "Look, we'll give the money back to you, but it will slow down your atomic program." So what they did was not only did they take the money that we gave them and put it into their atomic program, they put it into terrorism around all around the countries.
Oh, it's expanding.
They expanded it.
Okay.
And the thing is, what the Israelis have been dealing with, you can't deal with that. If all of a sudden New Jersey started bombing here, we wouldn't deal with it, or Canada, right?
Yeah.
Started terrorizing the United States, we'd invade Canada, we'd knock them out. The Israelis have been putting up with a lot. Now the Israelis have their own thing because the Israelis believe, right, and ethnically or racially, they're primarily Europeans
Okay.
because the Israelis were Semitic at one point and dark, and some of them are. You could see the facial features and all that, but they mixed in with the European population.
Mm.
So not to an extent that most people did, right? But to some extent.
Yeah.
So they look European. And what happened after World War II, but they also have religious stake in it, because by their religion, if they believe fully in the religion, they're entitled to that land because God gave it to them.
Ah, okay.
Now you have two things: God gave it to them,
I
right?
gave it to them.
And you also have that they were nearly wiped out by the Nazis.
Okay.
So they all ran, they all not ran, but they all immigrated to Israel to an extent. And they did shady things. And they had little terrorist organizations against the English who ran Palestine at that point.
Wow.
They weren't angels, but they were not. They they played by certain rules. Now the thing is, what's going on now is when they say genocide, there's no genocide against the Palestinians. Now there may be oppression, which is different than genocide is when I'm going to wipe you out.
Right, right. They don't have a genocide.
They don't have. There's 2 million then they're really bad at it. Now when they have a war, when
Yeah.
you start bombing cities, but what the Hamas did is they put all they were like this with the hostages and the general population, and they're hiding around behind kids, and they're putting their terrorist places in hospitals.
Wow.
So you can't help but
Even
kill civilians.
even the little kids is dying.
Right. They would take like their missiles, right? And they put it near a schoolhouse
Oh no.
or a hospital, a children's hospital, that you would say.
That's crazy.
So when the Israelis bomb, they're gonna kill kids. Even in World War II, when we fought the Nazis, right? We bombed cities that had children in it and all that. And then they made different rules about you can't um you know attack the civilian populations, but everybody's doing it. They say these are the rules, right? But in all these wars, unless it's out in the desert somewhere, they're bombing. If they bomb a city, and sometimes you need to bomb a city, especially when the other guy's hiding in the city and has those missiles in the city.
Mhm.
You got to bomb. And the Palestinians have a bad reputation because they're in Gaza, let's say, right?
Right.
But the Egyptians won't let them the country
Mm.
because when the Palestinians were chased out of when the Palestinians lost the war in 48,
Yeah.
they went into Jordan, right?
Okay.
And it caused a civil war in Jordan. But they
Wow.
tried to take it over. In Lebanon was primarily Christian and some Muslim, right?
Okay.
And it was a beautiful city. Everything was beautiful, and the jewel of the and freer, right?
Right.
Palestinians, and they caused the civil war that went on for years. Well, I was a little kid when that began, and they took over Lebanon
Oh.
because there were more of them. Lebanon's a fairly small country.
Right.
So you could take over the place, and the Christians fought them in like a civil war, but they eventually lost.
Okay.
So now the thing is, even now they're coming here, right? And what are they doing? They're saying death to America.
That's all right.
And they're wearing masks, and then taking advantage of our freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But the thing is, our freedom of speech will only go so far.
Is it the new people that moved in here, or
It's students for the most
that's
part.
maybe all the new people that's the old people that lived there for years don't do that.
No, well, see, what happened was they are radicalized. That was what happened to them was unfair, right?
To the kids?
To Palestine,
To
the
their parents.
Palestinians, to their parents. Now the
Right.
parents may even mellowed out. The parents may not even believe it, but they're not going to be fond of the Jewish people who chased them out of their country.
Right.
So it's like they lost their way. But the thing is, they you can't come into somebody's country, burn their flag, attack the Jewish people that are there, and say that you hate the country,
Mm.
especially during wartime. And really, we're at war with these different countries.
Okay.
If we and dependent, if we don't, get them and say, hey, if you attack Jewish people, right, and you vandalize things, and you attack people who don't believe in what you believe in physically, you're out of here.
Oh,
Deport you
wow. That quick.
that quick. Because can you
I'll
imagine?
be scared.
And see, say if they did this to your country, right?
Okay.
They come into the Dominican Republic. I hate the Dominican Republic. Screw the Dominican Republic. And burn the Dominican flag. And then they have rights as much as a person from the Dominican Republic. And then they're going to a lot more are going to come in till they outnumber the Dominicans.
Wow.
They're
Yeah.
not going to go for that.
We're not gonna look right now.
You throw them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like in World War II, and they did something wrong with World War II. We incarcerated 100,000 Japanese. We put
Wow.
them in camps.
That's a lot.
That's 100,000. But the Japanese.
Were they separated?
They were separated from the general population. Right?
Okay.
The camps weren't brutal like Nazi camps and stuff like that. But the problem with this is there were no spy systems. They don't have one thing where the Japanese went on the side of the Japanese Empire. In fact, what happened is they asked for Japanese volunteers to fight in Europe,
Okay.
NUSA, and they were the most decorated soldiers of World War II in terms of the unit.
Wow.
They didn't put them in the Far East. They didn't trust them enough, but they had them fighting the Nazis.
Nazis. Okay.
And see, and that was a great injustice. But the thing is, with this situation, and we've you have to have a situation where you can't let people who want to destroy your country into your country.
Right.
Or hate your country. They want to make it like it is back home. And back home is you don't want to live in this country. You may not be crazy about gay people or Jewish people, but you don't want to see them killed. You have plenty of friends who are Jewish.
Yeah, and the friend was gay.
And gay, and they have a cousin who's gay. You don't want.
You don't want to get that party.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's unacceptable. And the thing is with Trump also he's getting revenge because they tried to destroy him. They went after his family, they went after his money, and they went on a lot of the charges that they had against him were false.
Right, no proof.
Or they were trumped up. They say trumped up charges. They had this thing with the banking account, right? They say he overemphasized how much Mar-a-Lago was worth, right? And so he borrowed from the bank money against the worth of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And they said, well, Mar-a-Lago's only say $1 million. He said $5 million, right?
Wow.
But Mar-a-Lago is worth $5 million. It's one of the most, and not only that, the money he borrowed from the bank, he totally paid back.
Wow.
So it was total bullshit. And then they said, well, we convicted you of that crime, and we're going to now charge you with your properties $500 million to bankrupt. So that, and he's like, and then he's like, he came in back, and people was such an outrage.
Yeah.
That people voted for him.
That's
because they were like, this is crooked. And Biden, they kept on saying Biden is as sharp as a tack. Well, Biden was senile. He was senile. I could tell when he had a debate with them before he was even elected that the man was losing his mind. He was senile, and they mocked him.
Yeah.
But then they said that the other candidates weren't strong enough, a little too radical. So they said Biden's a moderate. Well, he was a puppet.
Okay.
And he was like senile, and they kept on saying he's sharp as a tack. And you saw him when he talked.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. And that discredited the Democrats.
That's what they have to do what they got to do.
and
check him out.
and they took him out of they put Harris in
His
there.
health, yeah.
And Harris had a thing where she slept her way to the top.
Oh my gosh.
There was
What this war is about, guys.
right. It's like she had this thing where the guy who was in charge of California, this black guy, right?
Uh-huh.
She was having an affair with him,
Wow.
and they put her in these positions. But she did bad things to black people because what happened was certain things, like they had the marijuana laws, right?
Yeah.
Now, what she did was she wanted a total conviction rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they needed black people to put out the fires in California. So she made sure that they didn't get off on time served. So they could use them as slave labor in the putting out fires.
So
The
they
black
could
people,
use them.
yeah, and she was totally ruthless. And she
Okay.
phony because one moment she says, I'm Indian," and next moment she says she's black. She changes her voice. She's not that good
So
at
where
her
is he
job.
then?
She's a mix.
Ah,
She's Indian and black. But if I go like this, I say, I have a little black blood in me and all that stuff, and I said, well, I'm black now, man. And then I'm like, no, I'm Indian.
oh
I'm
wow.
whatever I need to be.
So what, you Indian, you black, you don't know what you like.
Be anything. See,
You can be anything you want. You throwing yourself out.
right.
In a way.
And the thing is with black people, right? Like they, to an extent, because they made the black may look more black than white, right?
Right.
They may identify, I'm black, like Alicia Keys. Her parents, she's half white.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most beautiful people in the world are half white and half black because it's a good mix.
Because of the mix.
It makes them attractive. They have the best of both worlds a lot of times. But they don't acknowledge the white parent, which actually, and Obama, he had a white mother. But now, when it was convenient, they say he was mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
When it was inconvenient, he's black.
Wow.
But the thing is that you're dishonoring half your heritage. Because even though you could identify as black, right?
Yeah.
You're still raised by a white person. Your blood is still half white.
I get it.
So then they don't have a bridge because then it's like, well, and those relationships were based on love. But years ago, when people were half white and all that stuff, it could be shady.
Right.
It could be a plantation guy raping his people there.
That's crazy.
Or people, it could be, not based on love.
Yeah.
A lot of things weren't based on love. When your grandparents got married, right? A lot of times it was because your mother needed to be supported by somebody. So she was going to pick somebody who could be a good supporter.
Makes sense.
So let's see. How long have we been doing this?
Let's see. It doesn't really tell me how long, but 30 something minutes.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you like the podcast, we're gonna do it again
Yeah.
tomorrow. We're also gonna make a video in a few 30 minutes. We're gonna give ourselves a break.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about the news and stuff.
Right.
All right. So let's say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Goodbye.
I hope I don't get hate mail or hate talk.
No email, guys, please.
Right. But maybe just, maybe we need the hate.
Hey, yeah, we don't mind reading the hate.
At least you're paying attention.
All right. All right. Goodbye.
Bye bye.